On a warm September morning, a parking officer noticed something strange about a gray Tesla left on a quiet hillside street in Hollywood. It had been there for days. Maybe weeks. Tickets stacked under the wiper like forgotten warnings. The car looked abandoned, but what was inside wasn't just forgotten. When investigators finally opened the front trunk, as Tesla calls it, they found the decomposing body of a young teenage girl. A girl who'd been missing for more than a year. Her name was Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And the car was registered to the rising music artist known as D4vd, real name, David Anthony Burke. This isn't tabloid shock. This is real. And what happened next would shake both the internet and the music world to their core. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. No gloss, no sugarcoat, just raw reality. Before her name became part of a nationwide mystery, Celeste Rivas Hernandez was just a 13-year-old girl from Lake Elsinore, California. Her world was small but full: school, family, friends, and the kind of innocent dreams only a young teen could have. Photos from before her disappearance show her smiling in natural light, a little shy, a little hopeful, the kind of smile that tells you she still believed the world was safe. At the same time, on a completely different path, David Anthony Burke, or D4vd, was becoming one of the internet's quiet success stories. A self-taught musician from Houston who started recording songs in his sister's closet. His voice, soft, melancholic, almost poetic, earned him millions of streams. By 2023, his breakout hit "Here With Me" had gone viral, placing him on festival lineups and magazine covers. He wasn't a household name, but in certain circles, he was a star. A creative, mysterious soul with lyrics about love, loss, and loneliness. No one could have imagined those two names, Celeste and D4vd, would ever share the same sentence. But by the spring of 2024, their worlds collided in ways no one could fully explain. April 5, 2024. Celeste's family filed a missing person report. She was only 13. The details were vague, the circumstances unclear. All police would confirm was that she was last seen in Lake Elsinore, a community about 70 miles southeast of Los Angeles. Her mother's voice, in early interviews, trembled with both fear and exhaustion. They didn't know where she'd gone. They didn't know who she was with. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned into months. But no trace of Celeste appeared. Online, her case didn't gain much traction, not at first. Missing teen cases often fade fast when there's no immediate suspect, no viral photo, no sensational headline. But in the background, someone knew more. Someone was holding a secret, and keeping it close. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, there was nothing to suggest that somewhere, a missing child story would soon intertwine with his name. Then, one day, that shift arrived. Not in a breaking news headline, but in the quiet discovery of a car no one had moved for far too long. September 8, 2025. A parking enforcement officer walked along a Hollywood Hills street, issuing tickets to cars lined up along the curb. The gray Tesla stood out, clean, polished, but eerily still. He wrote another ticket, unaware of what lingered behind that sleek metal. Neighbors said they'd seen it sitting there for weeks, untouched. No lights. No noise. Just a car, abandoned on a hill. But the smell was the first real clue. Something foul and unnatural seeped from under the hood. When LAPD officers arrived, they opened the car's front trunk. And what they found would change the story of Celeste Rivas forever. Inside was the decomposing body of a young female, later identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. A child who had been missing for nearly 17 months. The car's registration led directly to David Anthony Burke, the artist known as D4vd. The news broke fast. People magazine, The Guardian, Los Angeles Times, each headline carried the same grim detail. Body of missing teen found in Tesla registered to music artist D4vd. And just like that, a quiet disappearance had turned into a national scandal. Forensic teams worked through the night. Hollywood's hillside became a crime scene, lights flashing against the polished metal of the car, yellow tape stretching across a street that had once been ordinary. Neighbors watched from their windows, whispering to one another. A girl? In that car? By morning, the details began to spread online. The name Celeste Rivas Hernandez, previously known only to local missing person databases, was suddenly trending across platforms. Hashtags, speculation, and fan theories flooded the internet. But amid all the noise, one fact remained. She had been found. And she hadn't made it home. Authorities confirmed that the Tesla had been abandoned for days, possibly weeks, before anyone opened it. Inside, they found not only the body, but evidence suggesting she'd been there for an extended period. The coroner's report was still pending, but decomposition was advanced. Her family's nightmare had reached its cruel conclusion. News outlets reached out to D4vd's team. His management released a short statement. David Anthony Burke is cooperating fully with authorities. We ask that the public refrain from spreading misinformation. But silence from the artist himself spoke louder than any press release. His social media went dark. Fans flooded comment sections, some in disbelief, others in rage, many in confusion. Who was this girl? How did her body end up in his car? And what had been happening in those 17 missing months? The Los Angeles Police Department launched a full homicide investigation. At first, details were scarce. Reporters pressed for information, cause of death, time of death, whether foul play was suspected, but investigators remained cautious. Behind closed doors, they traced ownership records, service logs, and security footage. They confirmed the Tesla belonged to D4vd. But had he been the one driving it? When was it last seen in motion? Those answers didn't come easily. The car itself became the centerpiece of a forensic puzzle. Experts combed through digital data. Teslas store everything: GPS logs, entry times, even climate settings. They pulled fingerprints, examined fibers, tested for DNA. What they found has not been fully released. What police did reveal was chilling enough. The vehicle had multiple parking citations, dating back several weeks. No one had come to move it. No one had even checked on it. The body inside had been decomposing to the point of near-skeletal remains. Investigators tried to piece together where Celeste had been since she vanished in 2024. Had she been traveling with anyone? Living under another name? Or was she taken and kept hidden until the very end? But every question seemed to birth another. Friends of the family told reporters they hadn't heard from her since the day she disappeared. A GoFundMe set up under her family's name surfaced, raising more than $20,000. It was meant to help find Celeste and bring her home. Now, it was being used for funeral costs. Online, the story divided the public. Some blamed celebrity privilege, asking why it took over a year to connect her to someone with that level of visibility. Others blamed law enforcement for failing to act faster. And then there were those who simply mourned. Because no matter what the investigation uncovered, the outcome was already irreversible. A 13-year-old girl was gone. Weeks after the discovery, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner confirmed the identity: Celeste Rivas Hernandez, aged 14 at death. Her cause of death was still pending investigation. No arrest has been made. D4vd has not been officially charged with any crime. Police say he's cooperating. But that cooperation has not stopped the avalanche of public scrutiny. Concerts were cancelled. Brands distanced themselves. Music blogs that once celebrated his artistry now dissected his silence. A retired police chief, speaking to the Beverly Press, said something that made people stop scrolling for a moment. When cases like this drag on, it's often because investigators are building something airtight. They want to make sure every single piece of evidence can stand in court. If that's true, it means there's more to this story than anyone yet knows. But in the court of public opinion, verdicts come fast. People began flooding his music videos with comments. Where's Celeste? Say her name. You don't get to sing about heartbreak when a child is dead. Others defended him, urging patience until facts were proven. But the emotional damage was already done. Because now, every lyric he'd ever written about ghosts, memories, and loss sounded different. Every melody carried an aftertaste of something darker. His image, once of a soft-spoken dreamer, became something else, a riddle wrapped in tragedy. And through it all, Celeste's family remained mostly silent. Her sister eventually broke that silence in a brief statement to India Times, saying the family had never personally known D4vd and asking people to stop spreading GoFundMe scam rumors. That one clarification told the world just how chaotic the online frenzy had become. Even grief was being turned into content. When all the noise fades, you're left with two names. Celeste Rivas Hernandez. David Anthony Burke. A girl with her whole life ahead of her. A man whose songs once soundtracked teenage dreams. And a car that became a coffin under the California sun. What happened between those 3 points, the girl, the man, the machine, is still unclear. But what's undeniable is the silence that let it happen. Silence from systems that fail young girls when they vanish. Silence from communities that don't ask enough questions. Silence from those who know but say nothing until it's too late. Celeste was only 13 when she disappeared. She would have been starting high school by the time her body was found. Maybe she would have learned to drive. Maybe she would have danced to the very songs now linked to her tragedy. But instead, she became another name in a list that's far too long. A reminder that fame and danger sometimes share the same space. As the investigation continues, we're left to wonder, not just who did this, but how many red flags were ignored before it happened. Because in every tragedy like this, there's a pattern. Someone saw something. Someone stayed silent. And a child paid the price. So if you feel a chill thinking about that Tesla sitting alone on the hillside, that's not just the darkness of crime. That's the echo of every voice that didn't speak soon enough. Let Celeste's story remind us that awareness is more than sympathy. It's vigilance. It's care. It's refusing to scroll past another missing person flyer because someone else will share it. The truth about what happened to her may still be buried in evidence, in phone data, in the long process of justice. But one thing's already clear. Her story deserves more than silence. This is the world we live in, where a child can vanish, and no one notices until the smell of decay forces us to look closer. It's ugly. It's real. It's raw reality. Because behind every headline is a heartbeat that stopped too soon. Behind every investigation, a family that still waits for answers. And behind every song, sometimes, a secret no one was supposed to hear. Until next time. Remember her name. Remember her face. And remember that truth is not always loud. Sometimes, it hides in the silence we choose to ignore.